Hello, 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 everyone. I just decided to do a little impromptu live stream because I was recording this video about these insane documents that I'm going to show you, and it got really, really nuts. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pop on a live stream and do actually a conversation about these documents. And I know it's like impromptu, but I thought it would be much better as a conversation than me just shouting in my computer for an hour. But let me just tweet out the link. Going live now to discuss this insanity. All right. So I'll wait. I'll give people a chance to kind of pop in. But guys, honestly, I'm not even joking when I say this. These are the most insane documents that I've seen yet. We kind of teased these documents on the chat that I did with Chris Rufo the other day. He gave us kind of like an advanced preview of what these documents were going to say because I knew he had them. But like, I just spent half an hour looking at part of them, and they're insane. This is actual insanity, and it blows my mind. You guys are going to be blown away at what he got in these documents. Like, it blows my mind how we're like, the taxpayers are paying for this. We are paying for this. Congratulations. And just so you think I haven't been, completely left to my own devices here, I am day drinking. I have no other meetings today. I have to pack to go to a conference tomorrow. I have to go to Milwaukee for the Better Discourse conference. And I saw this at the supermarket today. I was so excited. This is one of my favorite beers, Shipyard Pumpkinhead. I love most pumpkin beers. And this just happens to be one of my favorites. So cheers, guys. I know it's early for most of you, but it's 4 o'clock here, which is good enough. All right. I've only had like half a beer, though. I swear I'm not drunk. I've only had like half a beer. Benjamin says, you rock the backwards ball cap, my dear. Well, you know what? Someone said to me the other day, anytime you guys see me wearing a hat, it's usually because like I don't feel like doing my hair. But someone said to me, they were like, Carlin, you should cover up the sock and put pill. And I was like, that's a really good idea, actually. I'm going to look into making hats like that. All right. There are about 200 of you here. So let's get started with these insane documents. Let's see. I want to make it bigger. There we go. So let's see. I'm going to do my very best to look at the chat while I'm going through these documents. But here we go. So this is Chris Rufo. Chris is a journalist in Seattle. He's been uncovering a lot of these insane, like, they have all sorts of different names. Anytime you think of like diversity and inclusion stuff, at least right now. So diversity and inclusion is not all bad. I want to start by saying that there are a lot of diversity and inclusion initiatives that are actually good and productive and have nothing to do with this crazy nonsense. So I don't want to give diversity and inclusion in general a bad rap, because there are actually really beneficial things that can come from it, but not this nonsense. So anytime you hear anything about, privilege or, white fragility, or one of the things he's been reporting on is this internalized racial superiority training out of Seattle. Anytime you hear things like that, that is code word for nonsense. But what he's done this time is really extra. So let's see what he's got. The federal government's premier nuclear research lab hosted a 3-day re-education camp for white males with the goal of exposing their white privilege and deconstructing white male culture. Now let's just pause right there. These are literal nuclear engineers who presumably have gone through a lot of education and training to do what they do, and we're having them spend 3 days deconstructing their white male privilege as though that's part of their job. What in the holy hell? This is just, These are the leaked documents from the race-segregated, taxpayer-funded training. Last year, Sandia National Laboratories, which designs America's nuclear weapons, sent its white male executives to the La Pasa, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry, luxury resort to undergo a mandatory training called White Men's Caucus on eliminating racism, sexism, and homophobia in organizations. You can see here is a very nice picture of all the white men. I'm at least happy they got to go to Santa Fe. Santa Fe is beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite cities, but not to do this type of nonsense. Okay. In their opening thought work session, the trainers demanded that the men make a list of associations with white male culture. So let's take a look at their little brainstorm here. White male culture apparently consists of not being able to dance, being privileged, mass killings, the Aryan Nation, white supremacists, the KKK, and of course, MAGA hats, because, of course, the only people who wear MAGA hats are white men, according to Insanity. I mean, they've got good stuff on here too, and I want to acknowledge that. So they have other stuff like the Founding Fathers. Let's see, what else? Beer, hard cider. I mean, hey, cheers to that, man. But again, beer isn't just for white men, folks. Beer is for everyone. Beer is a sign that God loves us and wants us to be happy. Stressed out. We've got some sports stuff on here. We've got provider, patriot, protector. I'm sure the guy who put patriot on this list is like, he was like hating life for these 3 days. Let's keep going. The trainers insist that white males must work hard to understand their white privilege, male privilege, and heterosexual privilege. They claim that white men benefit from positive stereotypes that far outweigh the Tim McVeighs and Ted Kaczynski's of white maleness. Now, I just want to pause here. A 3-day retreat, an executive retreat, I am going to just bet, and I'm going to bet that this is a low estimate. I'm going to bet that the company doing this retreat that we are about to read about they got paid at least $50,000 for this. Mark my words. And I think that that's a low estimate, but I think $50,000 for a 3-day retreat is, you know, the minimal that they got paid for this. And let's see what they taught them in this retreat. Work hard to better understand systemic privilege. Systemic privilege is a web of unspoken, invisible benefits that come to a person by no virtue of their own. Now, let's just remember, these are literal nuclear engineers, right? These are people that are in charge of taking care of our country's arsenal of nuclear weapons. Do you think that they got to their position by sheer virtue of being white? No, they went to probably the best colleges, had to take the hardest classes, way harder than anything I had to take in college as a communications and then business and then psychology major. These guys had to study like real stuff. They had to do that on their own. The color of their skin did not get them passing grades in calculus and physics. The benefits are made to look achievable through effort and hence available to any person. Being a recipient of systemic privilege based on skin color, gender, and sexual orientation does not prevent straight white men from feeling mistreated or personally powerless in individual interactions. That said, not understanding how the benefits of systemic privilege impact day-to-day interactions can create enormous barriers in effectively understanding and communicating and leading diverse organizations. No, wrong, wrong, wrong. Now, I'm not going to say, I think there's absolutely a case to be made for executives and frankly anyone in organizations understanding different work styles, how to communicate with different work styles, how to collaborate with different work styles, particularly people who are different than you and frankly sometimes that are the same as you, because sometimes people with the same work style, they do this. That is absolutely beneficial for everyone. That's not what we're talking about here. Let's keep going. White privilege. Examples of that are, I don't have to think or worry about whether I got a job or promotion solely based on my race, nor do I have to worry about whether my peers think this was the case. Now, am I insane? Am I on glue? Or is that the very literal definition of affirmative action? If they don't want people to have to guess whether or not they got the job or promotion based on the color of their skin, then they should be absolutely in favor of getting rid of all affirmative action programs anywhere. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. Let's keep going. I can be pretty sure I will never be asked, do you speak English? Or be told, you speak English very well. Now, my husband is Ukrainian. You guys know that. Russian is his first language. He speaks English with a very thick Russian accent. I'm going to bet if he was told he speaks English very well, he would be like over the moon happy. This would not be a big deal. It's not even, these people, I swear to God. I do not need to ask myself if each negative episode or situation I experience has racial overtones. No one needs to ask themselves anything. People make the choice to ask themselves if everything negative they experience in the world has to do with their race. That is a choice that you make. No one forces you to have that perspective. In fact, right now we're training people how to have that perspective by teaching them that microaggressions are real things. Guys, microaggressions are not real. The only person who has put forth research that say that microaggressions are a real thing is the guy that actually invented them and makes bank training off of them. They're not real things. We need to stop treating them like they are. I routinely witness and benefit from the many positive white male role models displayed in the media, politics, and entertainment that far outweigh the Tim McVeighs and Ted Kaczynski's of white maleness. And that question really makes me ask, like, when the hell was this written? Because that's like from when I was in high school. That was a long time ago. The need to be right can block learning. Diversity learning is not about being right or wrong. It is simply that one has an incomplete picture of the whole. Now, where they are correct in that is that the need to be right can block learning. But what they're trying to do there is say, don't you dare question the things we're telling you or call us insane, even though we clearly are. They're saying, don't you dare question us. Oh. Male privilege. I can easily put my work and work schedule first without regard to key obligations to my family and or significant other. I do that all the time. Do I have male privilege? Honestly, because I do that all the time. My schedule comes first. I mean, I'm sorry, like my travel schedule right now is intense. Like I've only been home for 3 days. I'm about to leave again. Like my schedule does come first. I do that all the time. Am I a man? Did someone not send me I should probably go tell my husband right now that I've been a secret man this entire marriage. I can, in many more situations than not, take up more time, get more respect, and be listened to more often than a woman. That is the most sexist thing I have ever read in my life. Absolutely. That is crazy, crazy sexist. Listen, man, you put me... Okay, hang on. Where are these white men? You put me next to any one of those blurry-faced white male executives... And you watch what happens. You watch who gets listened to more, because I'm going to put my money on me. Again, I am not a man. Let's keep going. On the job, I am not judged by the attractiveness of my appearance. If you guys don't think that women are not if you guys think that women are not judging men on the attractiveness of their appearance at work, you are... Dude, there are freaking pools about this stuff. There are lists. There are rating systems. This gossipy nonsense happens literally all the time. Women do it to men, and men do it to women. It happens for everyone. Everyone gets judged based on their appearance. And no, your appearance does not make a difference in terms of how successful you can be in the office. Anyone can be successful, but I'm talking just in terms of like office banter and gossip and that sort of stuff. Everyone does this to everyone else. Stop. Like, oh my God, these people are insane. Guys, just so you know, you're going to hear me say these people are insane like 8,000 times in this live stream. I apologize in advance. I just don't know how else to put it, because this is actual insanity. But let's keep going. Heterosexual privilege. Talk to me about heterosexual privilege. I can have pictures of loved ones on my desk and not have to worry about what people will think. I can talk about what I did last weekend without having to edit what I say. I can bring a date to a company function and offsite events to which spouses are invited without the risk of negatively affecting my career. Now, am I on glue? Or was there just literally a Supreme Court case about this? A Supreme Court case that decided that you cannot fire someone because of their sexual orientation. People can do all those things. Gay people can do all those things. Lesbians can do all those things. In fact, it is now illegal to fire them for doing any of those things. So how is this privilege again? Because anyone can do any of those things. Let's keep going. The ultimate privilege for heterosexual white men is... the ultimate privilege for heterosexual white men means they do not have to think about or question the dimensions of their identity in each workplace situation. They can choose to address or not address diversity issues without much professional consequence. If they choose not to intervene in a diversity issue, their colleagues will not think less of them. Well, we all know that today that is not true at all. They will absolutely think less of them. In fact, they might actually get fired if they don't do this nonsense. 3 days of this. 3 days of this. Can you imagine? I'm already going insane. I've only been live streaming for what? Like 15 minutes? 3 days of this. When white women, people of color, and gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered people share struggles related to not having privileges, like some of those described above, white men often. So they're really basically saying that all white men share a brain and they're going to all react the same way in these situations. Okay. White men often unconsciously invalidate or discredit their experiences. Often this comes from not understanding how group membership affords white men protection from what others must face on a daily basis. They may dismiss the dilemma of their white women and colleagues of color by thinking or stating, I've overcome obstacles in my life. Why can't they stop their whining and overcome theirs? I did a video like a week ago. I don't even know. Maybe a week ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Literally saying, stop whining and get shit done. Like, I've made so many videos saying that. Am I a man? Again, did I miss the memo? All right, I need to take a break. I'm looking in the chat. Studio Anderson says, Carlin, thanks for speaking out. How can most of us fight against this racist propaganda and brainwashing that seems to be everywhere? I think the best reason, New Discourses is providing a lot of information about how to fight back. They're providing templated letters for you guys to send your employers. Avail yourself of all the stuff on New Discourses. It's really, really important. And if you can speak up, then speak up. Speak up. But I know not all of you can. I know that a lot of you get put in positions where you might lose your job if you do, and I have empathy for that. I really do. But if you are in a position to push back against your organization when they're doing stuff like this, you have an obligation to. Viking Insane, one of my favorite handles of all time. All of this newspeak is rationalization of bigotry against people for their sexuality and race. The concept of group thinking is Marxism. That's exactly right. And honestly, like, these documents, they're incredibly racist and they're incredibly sexist. Oh, you guys, just wait till we get into this next one. Just you wait. In fact, like, let me just, come on. I'm going to ask my husband to bring me up another beer in about 10 minutes. And then, so apparently I will be expressing privilege in that one too. Okay, let's see. Aaron says, remember, gang, every identity group is a monolith. Yes, indeed. All right, let's keep going. Next, the white male employees must expose the roots of white male culture, which consists of rugged individualism, a can-do attitude, hard work, and striving towards success. Oh, apparently my husband liked that I told him that I said I was going to ask him to bring me a beer. He just texted me from downstairs. Hi, Victor. Victor, you suffer from white male privilege, just so you know. Consider yourself warned. Let's see what this says. Key white male culture characteristics. Studying the relationship between white male culture and the history of the British Isles can help American white men see which traits that have ensured their ancestors' survival live on in them today. All right, well, we'll look at that in a second, but I just want to answer this super chat. My organization is doing mandatory training this month. Should I not go? Should I ask lots of questions and call out their lapses in logic? James Lindsay actually had an amazing Twitter thread, and I hope he put it up on New Discourses somewhere, where he laid out exactly the questions you should ask in these trainings and, how you should ask them to not get in trouble, essentially. So yeah, you absolutely can ask questions, but go along with the training, act like you're going along with it, because again, you could get in trouble and lose your job if you don't. But go look on James Lindsay's website or on his Twitter account. He's got a great thread that addresses this question specifically. All right, let's see what the characteristics of white male culture. A survivor mentality that focuses on the future. So white men are the only people who plan for the future. A tendency to rugged individualism, a can-do attitude. That is the most racist, sexist thing I've ever heard. Only white men can have a can-do attitude? Really? Really? Our taxpayer dollars paid for this, folks. Operating from principles and conscience. Okay, only white men can do that. Fine. Okay. Focus on hard work, action, and task completion. Striving towards success and materialism. Measured moderation and silent strength. I thought women were the ones who were supposed to have silent strength. Like, isn't that what they say? I don't know. Focus on status and rank over connection. No, that is a work style issue. About 50% of the people focus on emotional connections. 50% of the people are more interested in status and rank. You know, it's just the way it is. Success in white male terms is often linked to evaluating one's place in the hierarchy. Power and success is derived from a person's organizational status and positional rank. No, wrong. In fact, oh, excuse me, guys. Hang on. In fact, I have a presentation. It's actually on this panel, on this channel twice. I have a presentation that I did as a keynote. It's called Playing Politics, the Psychology of the Human Workplace, in which I lay out basically the psychology behind office politics. Hang on, I need to cough again. I lay out clearly the psychology behind office politics. And I flat out say in that presentation that your organizational status, your position, your rank, your title, whatever, that is one of the weakest types of influence you can have in the organization. And I go ahead and prove it. So go watch that presentation if you want to know why these people are full of shit. Let's see. Regal Johnson says the military and various three-letters agency are being infected with this ideology. I attend the meetings behind them, and they're good for a few years before we start seeing white privilege and training and other BS. Exactly. And then we have Hillbilly Heart that says, isn't bias training is replacing one bias with another? They just want to control the biases you express. How people overlook that behooves me. I mean, well, it's even more insidious than that because, excuse me, most people are not actually conscious of their own biases. They're unconscious, and there's not any sort of, there's no way to know how much our internal biases actually impact our behaviors in the real world. Does it impact 1% of our behaviors, 5%, 10%, 50%? There's no way to know that because most people are just unconscious of the biases that they have, and there's no way to measure it. Even these. Yeah, Elizabeth says, I'm honestly offended by this list. Oh, Elizabeth, we're just getting started, girl. We are just getting started on this. Just hold on to your hat, okay? Corporate culture in the US is heavily influenced and affected by status and rank. Thus, the natural consequence is to have those who don't fit the in-group norm, people of color, gays and lesbians, women, and non-Christians. Why are people talking about religion at work? I mean, I know I talk about spirituality on this channel, but like, this is, about my perspective. That's what this is. Why are people talking about religion at work? Makes no sense. People who are not white men essentially are placed in lesser positions. If that was true, there would be no female CEOs and Kamala Harris would not be the nominee for vice presidency of the United States. We have actual stuff in front of us right now in which we can debunk everything that these people are saying. Despite all good interactions, it's impossible to deny that this unchecked dynamic is still embedded within individual interactions at work. Often, its subtle effect is devastating to those on the receiving end. Okay. And you'll notice, too, that they provide absolutely no evidence for any of this. No evidence at all for any of this nonsense. Let's keep going. In fact, the trainers claim that white male culture leads to lower quality of life at work and home, reduced life expectancy, unproductive relationships, and high stress. It also forces this white male standard on women and minorities. So you hear that, kids. What Chris Rufo is saying here is that white men have a lower quality of life at work and home, reduced life expectancy, unproductive relationships, and high stress. How is male privilege then a real thing? If white men experience all these things, if this is true, then why are they privileged? Cost to the white men from the current system. The white male culture is results-oriented. That's a work style thing that has nothing to do with being white or being a male. That's a work style thing. But the results are not without cost, according to the workshop leaders. Among these are a lowered quality of life at work and home, reduced life expectancy, unproductive relationships, and high stress. The fix-it orientation and rugged individualism limits the ability of white males to hear and understand others, dampens their curiosity, isolates them from others, and limits their access to support networks. Impacts of white male culture on the workforce. Get ready for a boat ton of bullshit. The proud and whelped contend. Oh, they actually have a citation. I'll have to go look up that citation. The white male culture creates expectations, roles, and stereotypes for all segments of the workforce. White men, white women, and people of color. White men often overcompensate for the white male stereotype, abdicate group processes to women, and get blamed for... When was this written? Was this written in the 80s? Like, they're basically saying that white men make the women the happy homemakers of the office. Oh my God, this is incredibly sexist. And get blamed for lack of promotions for people from other groups. Because of the role they are expected to play, they typically don't have the opportunity to practice being an ally to diversity groups. White women, oh, please. Okay, so this is where the authors of this are going to tell me how I feel as a white woman. Okay, I'm ready. White women feel they don't have the option to be mediocre or they won't be taken seriously. Really? Really. I will have you know I've been in jobs where I have been excessively mediocre, and that was usually the thing that got me promoted. Because here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. True story. Side note. Most organizations do not want people who are ambitious. Ambitious people are actually incredibly pain in the ass for a lot of organizations because they want to do things in a different way than they've done them before. They want to go above and beyond. They want to change processes. It can be actually really disruptive. And so if you look at the people who get promoted in organizations, what do they tend to be? The people who come in and do what they're told and don't rock the boat. Those people, I shouldn't say never, because anything happens really, but those people very rarely get fired in organizations. The ones that come in and just do what they're told and don't go above and beyond, those are the people that usually end up getting promoted in almost every organization I've ever worked with. It's absolutely insanity. So yes, you can be mediocre and do very, very well. Most mediocre people do just fine at work. They often experience self-doubt and feel torn between work and family. I have never once felt torn between work and family. They have learned not to express emotion in the workplace lest they be perceived as high maintenance. Expression of emotion in the workplace has to do with your work style. About 50% of people feel more inclined to express emotion. The other 50% feel more inclined to hold it back. That is not a gender thing. That is a work style thing. People of color often resent having to conform to the white male standard in corporate America. They feel they are living out of context with who they really are and often see the company as temporary before returning to their own culture, thus affecting their retention. Okay, there is so much bullshit in this last paragraph. Number one, people of color resent having to conform to the white male standard. Let's just go back and remind ourselves what they're defining the white male standard as, shall we? A can-do attitude, hard work, striving towards success. Why would people of color feel offended at having to do that? That's what people do. That's what you do at work. You have a can-do attitude, you work hard, and you strive towards success. What is offensive about that? That is incredibly racist to say that people of color feel offended at this standard that you should work hard when you're at work and being paid to do a job. What makes you think that they can't work hard and strive for success and have a can-do attitude? Of course they can. Anyone can, because it's not an attribute of being a white male. And the other thing it's saying too is that they just feel more comfortable with their own kind. I mean, I'm sorry, are they going to leave their job specifically to go to work for a segregated organization? I mean, that's your choice. I suppose anyone can make that choice, but do you really think that let's just take a mystery and listen, I've worked with organizations that are majority people of color. And oftentimes, they're some of the most demanding organizations that I work with. A lot of agencies, like marketing agencies, advertising agencies, majority people of color, they have very high demands on their staff. They have to have all those things. Like a person coming into that work environment, if they don't have a can-do attitude, like they're not going anywhere. But lastly, they're saying that this affects retention. No, there are 3 things that affect retention. 3. Number 1, your overall compensation to include your salary and benefits in relation to what is fair market value for your position. Number 2 thing that affects retention is your job satisfaction. How much do you like what you're doing? Are you happy at work? That sort of stuff. Number 3 thing that affects retention is has to do with your career progression. Is your job getting you to where you want it to go, or is it you're kind of just coming in and collecting a paycheck? Those are the 3 things that affect retention, and then we can talk about different mixes of the 3 elements, but those are the 3 core features. Not being a person of color working with white men. That is complete nonsense. All right. All right, I got to do some super chats. Corliss, thank you. I can stand only so much of this stuff, even when Carlin is ripping the fig leaves off of it. Dude, I can barely even take this one. But thanks for hanging out. Let's see. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anyone. Well, actually, I'm going to do one. Carl asked a really good question. How has this not been legally challenged? Chris Rufo is actually going to be filing. We talked about it in my interview with him the other day. He's going to be filing some sort of civil rights claim in Seattle. So he is trying. But most of the time, this stuff is completely legal. Aaron says, just replace the race/sex from white/male to see any to any other to see how disturbing this thing is. I mean, I think this stuff is pretty disturbing, even, if you just leave it as a white male. Let's see. Viking Insane says, all of this can be simplified to the oppressor group has all the agency, the oppressed groups have none. That is exactly correct. And Giorgio, I can't imagine an irreplaceable value. I cannot, excuse me, I'm sorry. I can imagine an irreplaceable, valuable person in a workplace silently quitting over this. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Then the workplace wakes up and stands up to confront the BS that caused them to quit. No. The first half of this super chat, I agree with. The second half, I do not, because what happens when your really valuable people quit? Well, you're left with those mediocre folks. Remember, I just told you guys, like, organizations like mediocre folks that aren't going to speak up and that are going to be pretty docile. They really do. And so, the people who are left over after the exceptional people quit, they're not going to speak up. They're going to continue to be mediocre. And by the way, like, I don't actually think that there's anything wrong with just going in and just doing your job and doing what you need to do to get a paycheck. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to put people down when I say that they're mediocre. I mean, whatever, man. If you're all you want out of a job is a paycheck, don't go in and bust your ass, because you're never going to be thanked for busting your ass anyway. I shouldn't say never, but very rarely will you actually get kudos for going above and beyond. So I think that's great. All right, hang on. I need a drink. I need to drink both because this nonsense really pisses me off, and also because I'm losing my voice. So beer is obviously the correct answer. All right, let's keep going. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Guys, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Okay, we're going to do it. I still have to write a proposal for a talk today. Oh my God. In a subsequent session, the white males must publicly recite a series of white privilege statements and male privilege statements. They must accept their complicity in the white male system and their role in creating oppressions. This is what brainwashing looks like. Let's see what they have to say. White privilege statements. Not worrying about being pulled over by the police for no reason. Easier access to the system. White have the privilege. They don't like, there's typos in this, man. Like, how is this? Oh, this is generated by the participants. Okay, I see. White have the privilege of not being pulled over by the cops based just on skin color, neighborhood they're in, or the car they're driving. Easier to get promoted at work. Based on what evidence is it easier to get promoted at work if you're a white man? Not being pulled over at the border for no reason. Easier to fit into corporate America. How, like, oh my God. White people. Okay, I also want to know too, this is a workplace training. Most of the things that I've already seen on this list have nothing to do with the workplace. So then why are we having these nuclear engineer executives who are responsible for maintaining our nuclear arsenal, a pretty important job? Why are we having them focused on this when it has nothing to do with their job? Why are taxpayers paying for this when it has nothing to do with their job? People can loiter at Starbucks without having the police called, not being rejected for a loan, being deemed as not having enough money to buy a house, car, etc. before I fill out my paperwork. As a majority, we often prevail in elections, which drive our society and economy. Well, the Democrats handpicked an old white man as their presidential nominee. So whose fault is that? Let's see. I'm not going to read all these guys. I'm sorry. I can only take so much insanity for one day. And most of them have nothing to do with work. White people have access to better education. Okay. Ugh. Oh, male privilege. Okay. I especially want to focus on this because I want to learn all the ways in which I am disadvantaged as a meek and feeble woman. I'm sure this document's going to tell me, but before I do that, let me take this super chat. Sun King says, is this a woke purge of corporate workplace? Does this ideology being put in place in that setting make it easier to fire people? I mean, it's pretty easy to fire people, truth be told. Like, most employees in the United States are employees at will, which is essentially like you can fire anyone at any time for any reason or for no reason at all. Aaron says, Carlin, this kind of talk gets you sent to the gulag. Dude, I was already going to the gulag, okay? Like, let's just be honest. I was already going to the gulag. Heck, we could all get yeah, you guys are all going to be with me in the gulag. Congratulations, all 600 of you. Cheers. Victor, if you want to bring me another beer, that would be awesome. Thank you. We'll see if he actually does it. We'll see how much my female privilege gets me in terms of alcohol. Okay, male privilege. Men can easily be physically dominant or intimidating. Okay. Men can make a mistake and be praised for being a risk taker, but if women make a mistake, they are labeled as incompetent. Men can oogle women and get a pass from their colleagues. Okay. Okay, I'm a married lady now, but I haven't always been married. And there have been many, many times when there have been, I mean, straight fucking ranking systems in places I have worked where women are ranking the good. Like, I remember one incident where a guy was wearing like a really, really a tight pair of jeans. There were conversations for days about that tight pair of jeans. Women do just as much oogling as men do. Please. Let's see. Men can choose. And frankly, oh, and here's the thing too. Isn't it like female privilege that no one ever thinks we're actually ogling them? Oh, look at my husband. Guys, he even brought me a glass. Look at this. I have womanly privilege for beer. Yay. Thank you, Victor. All right, let's keep going. Men can choose to ignore gender, racial, and ethnic diversity with no consequence. Anyone can choose to ignore anything. And in fact, this is advice I give to women all the time. Like, anytime I've done a training and the women in the group are like, Carlin, like, what can we do to not be nervous around presenting around men? I'm like, stop, just like make the decision to stop. Make the decision that they're not going to see you as any different just because, you know, you're a woman. That just is ridiculous. Yeah, you know what's happening is Victor wants to get laid tonight because I'm going away for the weekend. Victor is on the MVP game, getting points, brah. Yeah, I mean, he's got to get points because we get married for 9 years, so of course he has to earn it. I'm sure he's thrilled hearing this downstairs. All right. Men don't get overlooked or judged when they're on maternity leave. Well, why would they? I mean, come on. Men can have a reasonable chance of being able to defend themselves when faced with a physical threat. Men don't worry about what their colleagues think at work, think about their involvement in parenting. Okay. Men move up the organization faster than women. Men can walk past a scruffy character in the Walmart parking lot without clutching their purse tighter. Okay. Men can wear the same jacket 3 days in a row to a business meeting, blue blazer, khaki, and slacks. I've absolutely worn the same jacket 3 days in a row. Men do not have to go through pregnancy to have children. I mean, that is actually probably a male privilege. Men can be viewed as a stud, whereas women can be viewed as promiscuous or unladylike. Men can stage at a different hotel or conference center and feel safe. I don't even know what that means. Men are physically stronger. Men's loud and deep voices and their physical presence can be intimidating. All right, this is actual nonsense. I can't keep going. Chris says, if I'm faced with a physical threat, I'm likely toast. If I'm faced with a physical threat, someone's getting their ass beat. I'll tell you that. Finally, as re-education camp concludes, the white males must write letters directed to white women, people of color, and other groups regarding their meaning of this caucus experience. They apologize for their privilege and pledge to become better allies. Again, I just feel the need to remind everyone, these are like nuclear engineer executives responsible for maintaining our country's nuclear arsenal. And they're being taken through a brainwashing technique where they have to apologize to everyone that's not a white male for not being a better ally. Oh my God. Yeah, I think Euphoric Break here has exactly the right idea. I do. Let's see what they wrote. Hope I can read their handwriting. First and foremost, I am sorry. I'm sorry for the times I have not stood up for you to create a safe place. I'm sorry for the time I've spent not thinking about you and all of the privileges I've assumed because I have them, you have them. Okay. The meaning of the caucus to me was to open my thinking and empathy around groups other than white males and how we interact with them from positions of power. So they're literally reiterating nonsense. Okay, good. This is exactly what I wanted the people maintaining our nuclear arsenal. The caucus allowed me to see the privilege, although not previously realized, that I have as a white male in society and at Sandia. The caucus taught me there are both individual and group paradoxes as I view these perspectives not from a lens of being right, but from a lens and both are right. I can have greater empathy and understanding, which creates a safe space. No, wrong. Okay. The meeting helped me see different perspectives. I suck at reading cursive. I haven't read cursive in years. The meeting helped me see different perspectives on diversity and helped give me tools and leadership skills to be a better ally, mentor, employee, and friend. Okay, this guy is giving like the BS answer of the day. He's like, get me out of here. I just want to go to the bar. Who is leading the struggle session? A company called White Men as a Full Diversity Partners. Holy shitballs. This is no joke. Their company is literally called White Men as Full Diversity Partners, and they specialize in confronting those who typically hold all the power, namely white males. And it says, our name, White Men as Full Diversity Partners, holds some shock value, but it speaks to what we do. We are intentionally including the group of folks who are rarely part of the conversation, yet typically hold all the power, the dominant leadership culture, which is white males in the US. You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a Forbes article about this. Who wants to, do you want to take bets now about whether Forbes is going to fire me as a contributor for writing about this? I'm going to write an article about this. Absolutely. We're going to see how that goes. It's time to expose this taxpayer-funded pseudoscience and rally the White House and legislators to stop these deeply divisive diversity training sessions. My goal is simple. We must pass legislation to abolish critical race theory in the federal government. Yes, Chris Rufo. Yes, 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 yes. I am on board with this plan. Absolutely. All right, guys. So that is the Crazy Town documents that I wanted to show you. I just thought it'd be more productive to do a live stream. Let me take this super chat. I don't think these people realize how actual white racists and white identitarians this BS is creating will continue to create. Why would they? They've been surrounded with submissive white leftists. I absolutely agree with that. All right, guys, is there anything else you want me to speak to in this live stream before I go and pack for Milwaukee? Oh, by the way, is anyone in the chat in Milwaukee or in the greater Milwaukee area? Because I'm actually flying to Milwaukee tomorrow. I've got a couple things going on. Here, let me get this off the screen. I've got a couple of things going on. I'm going to be on Saturday in Milwaukee. If you're in the area, and frankly, Chicago, I'm including you in this. Chicago, you are not off the hook. You can get on a bus, okay? Like, so in Milwaukee, we're doing a walkaway rally. I believe it's at 3 p.m. on Saturday. The information is at walkawaycampaign.com. If you are in the area, please, 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 please come to the rally. It's going to be awesome. Brandon's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Mikey's going to be there. Carrie Smith from Unsafe Space, our favorite YouTube channel, besides mine, of course. She's going to be there. And so please come out for that. And then on Sunday, I will be at the Better Discourse Conference, also in Milwaukee. I don't know if there's still tickets to that, but I'll be speaking, Mikey speaking, Brandon speaking, Jack Posobiec is going to be at both too. Jack Posobiec is going to be at the Walkaway Rally, and he's going to be at the Better Discourse Conference. So if you're in Milwaukee, come say hi. Love this stream, write it. Oh, I'm 100% writing an article for Forbes. I just decided. They can fire me. I don't really care. I hope they don't. I mean, I hope that they're open to this conversation or at least documenting this. I actually don't have, okay, so true story, I actually don't have any cause to think that they might fire me over this. I really don't. Like, I can write about whatever I want to, as long as I kind of stay in my lane. And I'm not going to be uppity about it. I'm just going to show the documents and what they found. But yeah, we'll see what's happening. All right, guys, that's all I've got for this one. I am about to lose my voice, and you know what? Oh, someone asked about Shu in the chat. Guys, one of the reasons I was able to do this live stream today is because, here it is. Did I talk to Shu, or is her router still broken? So I was supposed to have a live stream with Shu on Head today. She had to cancel because, yeah, she's still having issues with her internet. But we have rescheduled the chat for next week, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. The chat is going to happen, but she wants to have better internet, and I don't blame her. So the chat is going to happen. It's just going to be next week. So yeah, tune in for that. All right. All right, that's all I got, guys. I'm going to head out. I'm going to go enjoy my beer and go do some laundry. Yay. Hope you have a great rest of your day.